first of all, we need to understand the difference between traditional and non-traditional review. In traditional review, you search article in your field. Suppose you find article, you just read it, you synthesize it, and you will write in your literature review chapter. And you do not follow any system, pattern, or anything. You just, whatever you found important, you just read that and synthesize those articles. However, in systematic literature review, you follow certain system. You have certain, there are different framework you need to follow to apply systematic literature review. It might be Prisma, it might be Roses, according to your field. You can follow any type of framework. So in systematic literature review, the difference is you need to follow certain system or pattern, or you need to follow certain rules and regulation of how to search, review, and synthesize an article. So we will be discussing on systematic literature review today. First of all, I wanted to give you few example. What are non-traditional type of reviews? Yeah, these are some of the non-traditional reviews. I already mentioned traditional review you can do in any way. However, non-traditional review, it might be bibliometric analysis, it might be meta-analysis, or it might be a simple systematic literature review paper. In case of bibliometric analysis, your area is broad, scope is broad, you have a large data set, you just do quantitative as well as qualitative interpretation if necessary according to your scope. Since there are too many articles, you just synthesize those articles, and a number of articles are so many that it's very difficult to go in depth of each and every article in case of bibliometric analysis. There are different software for bibliometric analysis. Some people use Bose Viewer for bibliometric analysis. However, some people use R also, BiblioSigny is there in R. So some people use BiblioSigny tool of R to do bibliometric analysis. However, in case of meta-analysis, scope might be broad or specific. Data, the data you have might be large or small, or it might be adequate according to your need. However, in meta-analysis, you combine different data set and you do quantitative evaluation, you do quantitative analysis of those all paper. It means all those data should be coming from similar fields, similar population, similar topic. Now you combine all those and make it a quantitative type of analysis. However, in systematic literature review, you have specific scope. You have certain scope. You frame your research question with certain scope. Your data set might be small in systematic literature review. However, in systematic literature review, you do qualitative interpretation. You focus more from qualitative perspective. You do either, mostly you might be focusing on content analysis of qualitative paper, or all the paper you have, you might do content analysis, or you might do thematic analysis of those paper. So in that way, systematic literature review more like a qualitative interpretation. However, meta-analysis is more on quantitative side or quantitative analysis. Otherwise, in both cases, you can use Prisma for searching, reviewing, and synthesizing articles. Before starting, you must know how or why to review scientific article, or before starting, you must know why to publish your review paper, whether that systematic literature review paper or any review that you are doing that could be published or not. You need to consider those things. Number one, timeliness is important. Whether your topic you are taking forward, whether you are doing according to the time, according to the need of that present time or not. Some people, if they have already published systematic literature review paper 1 year before, 2 years before, you don't need to publish on the same topic with the same research question, because already 1 or 2 years before that is published. However, if you change the way you publish, if you change your research question, if you change the topic slightly, then you can also publish article on those topics. However, that should be different from already that is done. Initially, the first step is identify any systematic literature review paper that is done or not. If that is done, you need to identify what is the gap in your field, and then you can do another systematic review. Otherwise, do not repeat the same thing that is done 1 year, 2 year before, because in 1 or 2 year, there will not be much update coming up on the research on that field. So you need to be mindful of timeliness, whether according to that time, that review is important or not. Another one, novelty is always important. What sort of new thing you could bring, what sort of uniqueness you could bring in that systematic review, that is important. So novelty, you have to consider novelty, whether you are anybody had published those article or not, anybody had taken care of those research question or not. You have to identify any new thing you could bring in that paper. Other than that, of course, in many cases, your expertise, how in depth you are doing things, how in depth you have knowledge on that matter. Sometimes, if you are one single ended paper, review paper might be difficult to publish, because review paper are written in such a way that you bring all those, you in your field, you try to read all those paper and try to bring up what is noble, what is unique, that is to be brought to the audience. That's why many journal paper, they see whether senior author or not, whether experienced people are writing that or not. Otherwise, sometimes for a novel or a early career researcher like us, we might feel that that is novel. We might feel the research is not done. However, the experienced researcher, they know whether that is or not. So the thing that might be novel for us, that might not be novel for experienced researcher. So it's always better to have expertise on the topic if you are writing a review paper. And of course, journal relevance, your motivation to write, how much in depth you can go on that, that is really important. Search engine now, what are the different search engine you follow? It depends upon that. To search article, to find article, there are different search engine you can use. Most importantly, if you follow in the medical science, nursing, or public health, they might be following PubMed. However, we in forestry, social science, natural science, we might follow Web of Science, Scopus, Google Scholar, or any other science.gov, or any other article. At UMaine, Web of Science is free. We have our own access to Web of Science, so we can follow Web of Science at UMaine. And Google Scholar is almost free for everyone. However, Scopus is also there, but at UMaine, we don't have free access to Scopus, but you can also do search on Scopus in your field. But the best one for us is, because Web of Science is a paid database, you can use it, because at UMaine it is free. And what type of reference manager software tools you use, that is also important. Some people use EndNote, some people use Mendeley, some people might use Zotero, RefWork, whatever you follow, at least one reference management tool you should follow to write an article. It will be easier for you. I've been using EndNote, Mendeley, Zotero, RefWorks. You might be following any other or any one of them, but at least you should follow some of them or one. In review, whenever you do any type of review, you need to think of what is the design, what type of design you need to follow, how you conduct those reviews, how you do analysis, and how you structure and write the review. That is always important. So you need to ask question, what type of design you should have, how you conduct, or what are the things, or what are the questions you will ask to conduct those reviews. What type of question will you ask to do analysis, and what type of question will you ask to structure and write the review. So that those things are really important in literature review or writing a review paper. In terms of guidelines, in design phase, what guideline you should follow? There are many guidelines. In conduct phase, what type of guideline you need to follow? In data abstraction and analysis phase, what type of guideline you need to follow? In structuring and writing and the review, There are different steps and qualities or guideline you need to follow in all steps, and then your review will be perfect, and then your review will be scientific, and will be it will be easier for you to convince your audience. So you need to follow different questions, you need to ask and follow guideline in design, conduct, analysis, and writing phase. Now I will go into different framework. Number one is Prisma. This Prisma framework is followed by, I have seen following by every field, even in medical field, nursing, even in public health, or forestry, wildlife, social sciences, natural sciences. I have seen most of the author following Prisma. Prisma, the full form of Prisma is preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. You can follow this reporting framework for both systematic review as well as for meta-analysis. So this is Prisma. And in Prisma, there are three phases: identification, screening, and inclusion and exclusion. So identification, screening, and those inclusion exclusion criteria need to be understood. And there are different criteria to how to identify article, criteria, how to screen those articles, and whether to include or not. You have to follow this framework. And this is one of the example of a Prisma flow chart, flow diagram. If you type on the Google also, if you type Prisma flow diagram, this type of flow diagram will come. So there, this Prisma is one of the framework. And some people, they may follow Roses framework. Roses, the full form of Roses is reporting standard for systematic evidence synthesis. It means Roses mean how you synthesize systematic evidence. This is the reporting standard. In this case, there are different steps. In the case of Prisma, there were identification, screening, inclusion, exclusion phase. However, in Roses, your searching phase, your screening phase, your critical appraisal and synthesis phase might be there. So there are different phases in all these two frameworks. These are two frameworks. One is Prisma, another is Roses. And you identify how many articles you search, how many articles you synthesize, how many articles are relevant for you. In that way, you can do your systematic review. So in summary, there are two main frameworks they are followed. One is Prisma, another is Roses. And if you type in Google and search Prisma checklist, there is still Prisma 2020 checklist, where that checklist tell about what type of title, how you write your title. In this checklist, everything is written: how you write your title, how you write your abstract, how your introduction should be framed, how you write your methodology, eligibility criteria, information. All those guidelines are there, all those checklists are there, so that you can write a systematic literature review paper. So many people follow this framework. There is a checklist in every topic or every subtopic of your paper. What guideline you need to follow, what checklist you need to follow, everything is there. If you read it, it will tell you how you synthesize those. And in results, in discussion or other information also, what your article should focus. So if you follow this, it will be easier for you to write a systematic literature review article following Prisma. This is the Prisma 2020 checklist. And Roses also, if you type Google and if you type Roses also have its own guideline and checklist. So either you follow Roses or Prisma. They are all on Google and they are free of cost provided to you. You need to follow those in systematic literature review. Now, if you are doing a systematic literature review or if you are doing any review paper, first of all, you need to identify what is your topic and research question. And to identify your topic and research question, you need to apply some framework. To identify research question also, you have a different framework. For example, PICO framework. Many people, some people they say PICO, some people they say PICOS, PICORS, PICOS. So either you follow any type of PICO, PICOT, PICOS, PICORS, or anything else. You have to focus on your what is your population, what is your problem, what is your patient, how you are taking all those things. Number one, P stand for, it might be problem, what is your problem, what is your population, what is your patient, or what is your usually the problem. Number second, I mean intervention, how you intervene those things, how you manage all those things. So in second phase, you have to consider intervention, and you need to compare to identify research question. What are the things you are comparing, or what are the things you are going to compare, and what are the things you will not compare, and what will be your outcome of those study, what is your plan, what outcome you expect. If you use this framework, your research question will be more scientific. So to develop any research question on review paper or systematic review or any other research, also people usually they suggest you to follow PICO framework, or it might be PICO's because it might be written anything by any author. However, you should follow PICO. Problem, intervention, comparison, or outcome. This is a framework to identify your research question in systematic literature review as well as other review and articles. So I always suggest to follow this framework. Now, we are discussing this Prisma. The first stage of Prisma is what? Identification. How to identify articles. Now, what is identification mean? How to identify articles. First, I already said you have to finalize your research question. What is your research question? First, you have to determine that. And how you determine your research question? You have to follow PICO framework. After you for designing your research question, now after you have research question, now you know what are your topic, what is your keyword, you can identify the keyword. For example, you have a certain topic, you have a certain question. Now, from that topic or research question, you can identify what are the keywords. What are the keywords of your topic, or what are the keywords of your research question. For example, if you have to assess the impact of COVID on biodiversity, impact of COVID on forest management, impact of COVID on forest and livelihood. If you have that topic, for example, forest is one keyword for you, forest management is one keyword, biodiversity conservation might be another keyword, socioeconomic impact might be another keyword. So how is your topic, how is your research question? You have to identify your major keyword. First, you will note keywords. After noting keywords, you will identify what are the possible synonyms used for those keywords. For example, impact of you are assessing impact, forest, livelihood, biodiversity. Mean in all those four keyword, impact, what are the other synonym of impact? It might be effect, it might be outcomes, or whatever might be the synonym of impact, you will identify all those. Similarly, forest management, how people write the synonym of forest management. They may write forest management, they may write forest ownership, they may write forest policy, or whatever word they can use on that framework. You have to identify those synonym. Similarly, for livelihood, how people define livelihood, how they say livelihood. Some people may say socioeconomic impact, some people may say economic and other impact. So in that way, you have to identify your synonyms. Keyword, and each and every keyword should have their own synonyms. And now you have a keyword in your mind. Now you have synonym in your hand. Now you need to identify the database. What type of database is recommended in your field? As I mentioned, at UMaine, you have Web of Science, free of cost. You can use that. There is Google Scholar, free for everyone. There is Semantic Scholar, free for everyone. Either you use Scopus or Web of Science, you have to determine that yourself. In many colleges, university, they might have free access to Scopus database. However, we don't have. We need to follow Web of Science database that is free for us. I'll show you how we can do on in Web of Science. So I now, after keyword, synonym, and now you need to identify the database. If you are in the medical or public health, you can use PubMed. At least use your main database in forestry. What is your major database? You have to identify. Apply one paid database, that is the Web of Science for you. At least use the freely accessible one, Google Scholar. And the importance of Google Scholar is if you search article, you get many thousands articles. So you need to identify how many top article you will follow from that. If you have 100,000 article, how many you will read? Please determine the number, 200, 300 or something. I will read first 200, I will read first 500. You have to determine, otherwise there are hundreds of thousands of articles in Google Scholar, because Google Scholar consider each and every word in the document. Google Scholar go in the depth of the document as well. However, all those databases, they have their own criteria. In case of Web of Science, I will show you. You can start from the topic. You can check from the abstract. So that is the case in paid databases. However, Google Scholar give everything. Now, this is the important one. Before now, you have identified your keyword and synonym. You have your database. Now you have to use those Boolean operator and Boolean search modifier efficiently. You use and or not. You use quotation mark. You use asterisk mark or wildcard, or sometimes you use parenthesis or bracket. Now, what does and mean? And mean, if you see the Venn diagram between A and B, and mean which consists of which comes in both A and B, that is and. Suppose impact and forestry mean both words should be there, impact and forestry. And mean both words are there in the document. Or mean either impact is there or forest is there. Or it might be both. Sometimes impact and forestry might be there. Sometimes impact only is there or forestry is there. So it consists of, in the Venn diagram, it consists of all of A and B. Or impact, forestry, livelihood, anything might be there. Any word, if there is, that is or. Or mean A or B. And not mean, if you don't want any word, keep that in not. Usually you don't use not, but if you don't want to consider any countries, if you don't want to consider any research or any topic, in that case, you can keep not. So and or not are important. Other than that, this quotation mark is important. For example, if you have two words, forest management. Now if you want both forest management in your article, you need to keep that in your quotation mark. Quotation mark means that keyword consists of both words. Forest management, if you keep in the inverted comma, then that is consisting only those, that phrase is there. Overall, it take care of whole phrase. Forest management, both words should be coming together. If one word is coming, it might not find that article. So quotation mark help you to identify the phrase at all or phrase in totality. If you have three words, if you keep that three word in your inverted comma, then all three words should be there. Forest management framework, if you type in the document, there should be forest management framework coming together if you keep in inverted comma. So that is the importance of keeping in quotation mark, or sometimes you can give quotation mark or you can say inverted comma or whatever you say. Sometimes asterisk. Asterisk means it is a wildcard. It consists of any word beginning with that. For example, if you have to MANAG, if you keep MANAG and asterisk, that might consist of word MANAGE, MANAGER, MANAGE management. So MANAG asterisk means any word starting from those later will always come up. So asterisk or wildcard will help you to find all those articles starting with few letters. And parenthesis means if you keep inside the parenthesis, that will give you more priority. That will prioritize those articles. So these are the Boolean operator and modifier you need to understand if you search any article. Now screening. Now we discussed about identification. Now identification means your keyword, synonym, and databases you need to identify. You need to find what type of Boolean operator you need to use, and or not, quotation, asterisk, whatever you use, you need to identify those. Now, once you do those things and search article, you will get a lot of articles. You will get many articles. Now, out of those articles, you need to screen those. Screening means you need to see whether those articles are important for you or not. You use inclusion and exclusion criteria. With the filter available in the sites, you can follow your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Sometimes inclusion and exclusion criteria might consist of time. Time might be, you can include certain time and you can exclude certain time interval. So one criteria of filter can be time. So that is also inclusion, exclusion. This year are included, this year are excluded. Number second, subject area. Yeah, in paid databases, you have subject area, environmental science, ecology, energy, whatever subject area you want to choose. If you click those only, those similar article on those framework or on those subject area will come, and other will be avoided. So what are included and what are excluded, you have to identify. Number third, what type of document type you want to review. Either you want to review full article, scientific article, review article, thesis, dissertation. What are you planning to include and exclude? You have to identify those. So according to that, you could find what is coming under your inclusion and exclusion. Now, whenever you use a different search engine, for example, I use Google Scholar Web of Science, you have to, whenever you put those keywords, suppose I put those keywords on those databases, how many articles pop up? How many article comes in the beginning? You have to list those. How many articles are avoided after filter? You have to write those. Now, how many articles you have to read abstract? You have to rewrite and you have to note all those numbers systematically. Why we are saying system? Because in the beginning, we are following system to identify. Number one, for research question, you are following system, PICO framework system. Number second, in identification step, you are following system. How you identify article? First, you identify your keyword, and then synonym, and then you identify your databases in your subject area, and then you search using those Boolean operator. That is a systematic approach for identification. Now, again, another approach is there. You apply screening for systematic review, because what you want to include, what you want to exclude. After including and exclusion, how many articles are coming, you have to note down all those. In this database, this many articles are included, this excluded. In Web of Science, this many. So you have to note all those things. That's why it is systematic. Now, after you find that article is important, you read the abstract title and move forward. And this is the table. The table look like this. See, initially you identify the article. You identify your keyword. You identify your. This is the table which shows your keyword. Yeah, this is the one table for identification. What are your keyword? What are your databases? What are your synonyms? All these things need to come. You need to show this in the report, and then it is a system. Sometimes you have to write a whole link. What are your strings? What are your search? What is the search link? Also, be better to keep all those things. If you keep that, then it is a system. Otherwise, it's not. So, in this framework, this is generally a flow chart. Identification in Scopus, how many, Web of Science, how many, Google Scholar, how many articles, you have to note down. In screening phase, why you include and what you exclude, you have to write those. And how many articles are coming up, you have to show the figure. Now in that eligibility criteria, what is coming up, how many articles you need to read, you need to identify in this way. In totality, how many articles you are duplicate, how many articles are eligible, and how many articles you are reading altogether. From this 2083 article you searched in the beginning, how many are you going to read? 39. Now you are reading 39 completely, full-fledged, and you are following that system. All those identification, screening, eligibility criteria, you are following system. That's why it is a systematic literature review. Now your 39 article are need to be read. They need to be read. Or sometimes 100 article might be there. In those 100 article, you need to review and synthesize. In that way, Prisma framework or Rogers framework help you to systematically identify the article, screen the article, and identify the eligibility criteria and determine how many articles should be read at the end. And those full article, 39 article, you need to read. In that way, you identify your literature. In this way, you search and identify what you need to read. Now, what is in your hand already? You have research, your research question is in your hand, your whole identification, screening, eligibility, you applied, and 50 paper or 39 paper are in your table now. Now you need to read those 39 paper. That framework is a Prisma framework. Now that is the importance of systematic review. Now you can read in your own. Now the review synthesizing you can do in your own. However, for this you need to follow framework. That's why it is called systematic literature review. There are 3 steps: identification, screening, and eligibility. And then you finalize the total number of articles you need to read in full. Now, how to read article and extract? That is important. Yeah, anybody can search article. Either you do traditional review or systematic review. You know how to search article, how to read it efficiently. That is the important. Now, let's discuss how to read the article efficiently. Number one, you need to identify, you need to first figure out why you are reading, why you are doing that review, what is the purpose of that review. If you should have that purpose and why question in the beginning. Why I am reading this article, why I am doing literature review, what is the purpose of this literature review. First, you need to identify what is your purpose. For example, you have your purpose in hand, you have your article with you in the table, you have your purpose. Now first you will read topic, abstract, and keyword and objective. Just in 2-3 minutes, I'm telling you the efficient way and effective way, okay? In 2-3 minutes, just read the topic, abstract, keyword, objective. If that is relevant and important to you, move forward. Otherwise, throw that article in the trash. Why? You don't need that article. Once you read the topic, abstract, keyword, introduction, if that topic is not relevant, if that article is non-relevant, don't read it. Throw in trash. Only take few articles. In that steps, it might take 1 to 3 minutes. And you can throw away 80-90% of your review paper because all those paper might not be important. Only this helps to screen your paper. This is a broad visioning. You are broadly you are looking into 1 to 3 minutes or 1 to 5 minutes. What is the topic, abstract, keyword, objective, and then you will find whether that article is relevant or not. It will screen many articles. Only you will take the importance. That is the first step. Read. Just screen it. Don't read, but screen. Number one is screening. Number two, now you screen it, you find it relevant. After looking at the topic, abstract, objective, introduction, you find it important in 1-3 minutes. Now just make a table. What are the things you need to take out from the table? For example, what is the objective? What is the study area? What is the framework applied? How many people are read? What is the method used? What is the sampling used? What was the research question? What is the implication? What was the finding in terms of all research question? What are the limitations? What are the further study need to be done? Whatever you need, take it out from the paper now. This also doesn't take more time. Only take out whatever you need. Don't go in depth. If you need only the limitation, just take out the limitation. Just grab the limitation, just grab the study area, just grab the implication. According to your need and your focus on your purpose, take out whatever you need. This shouldn't take more time. In this second step, it shouldn't take more time. In first step, 1 to 5 minutes. This might take 20 to 50 minutes, around 20 minutes maximum. In 20 minutes, you can take out whatever you need. Just take out from wherever you need. Don't read full article. If you read full article, it might take a whole day. Just take 20-30 minutes to take out whatever you need. I'm giving the example. You don't need to take out everything given over there. Just take out whatever you need. So it will help to identify whatever you need. Now, this is the second steps. In third step, Now, you will take that paper in the third step if that is very relevant to you. Now that is your base paper. Suppose you are doing dissertation thesis. If that is your base paper, if you need to follow everything from this paper, then take it to the third step. You don't need to take every paper to the third step. Segregate them from the second step. You don't need to read every paper in the second step. Only in the third step, read everything. Yes, in this step, it might take time because you have to read everything. You have to synthesize everything because it is a base paper. You have to, it is fully relevant to what you are doing. Your whole methodology, objective, everything. Now, this process might take one day also. One whole day you might need to give that paper because you need to understand everything. And then you can identify what you are doing. So take those articles to the third step if that is very, very relevant to you, very relevant to you what you are doing. Otherwise, throw them away from the second step. Don't take. Many articles you can throw from the first step. Take those articles. If something is important, grab that only in the second step. On the third step, you take those articles if you really need to take it. What type of article you take to the third? If that is very relevant, number one. But if you are doing a review, if you are doing review for a journal paper, you have to read everything to give feedback. If you send article for publication and if somebody is reviewing, they have to go thoroughly through that. So in that review process also, for a journal paper review, people take it to the third level. Your thesis based paper will be the third step paper. Sometimes if you are giving feedback to your student, suppose if your professor is giving feedback to your student, he can't ignore anything. He had to go or she had to go through every step. In this case, they will give time and they will take it to the third level. There are certain paper only you should take it to the third level. Otherwise, you will not take it. Many paper you should throw away from the second step. Something important mean only take out those. Everything is important, then take it to the third level. In this way, it will save much more of your time. What is usually student the habit is they just see the topic and they see that paper important and they keep on looking at the article whole day, but that is not relevant. They spend whole day, but that article is not relevant. Now they are not efficient. What they have to do is screen it, to grab important thing if there is important, and if it is a base paper and thoroughly to be read, then take it to the third level. In this way, sometimes if you have to read article thoroughly, that might be boring sometimes. Literature review is never easy. It's a boring. You have to read everything. It's not easy. You have to take a break. If you are taking any paper to the third step, you should take a break. Otherwise, you will not be efficient. Do one thing, do another thing, come back and be fresh. And if it is very difficult paper, read in your most efficient time, either in the morning, evening, or sometime you could ask your professor to tell what is the importance in that paper. Or sometime AI also can give you the summary of that paper. Tell ChatGPT to find the summary of that paper. It will give you the summary. Once you understand the summary, it will be easy to go inside the paper. So if you are taking any paper to the third level, you can take support of your friend, AI, professor, or discuss with your friend. It will be easy to read because these articles you need to read thoroughly. In this way, you have to do a review effectively. There are 3 steps: screening, grabbing whatever is important, and reading thoroughly whole paper. And you don't read every paper thoroughly. Only few paper only you should read thoroughly. I'm always telling, don't read every paper thoroughly, you are wasting your time. Only base paper of your topic, study that thoroughly. Otherwise, grab important thing in 20 minutes and throw it away. Don't waste your time.